And I also heard an interview with Mick Jagger when the Beatles broke up. Well, they were the great, but they're not the best anymore. By the way, I played for Mick Jagger at the Carlisle. And Ron Wood. And they're not the best anymore. I could care less if they
things like that. But the Beatles, like the world kind of stops when the Beatles come into the equation. Especially,
it soothes you when you need soothing. It makes you even feel better when you already feel good.
Imogen Heap, comes in. So she brought these gloves that she could control instruments and organs and percussion and all sorts of stuff, and I don't even know how it works.
We were going to see Wilco. They're the big headliner, and as we, you move your way up to the front, you get to the front rail, and I was like, this is my first festival before, and my dad was like, oh, you can shimmy your way up to the front rail, get a spot, and I'm like, I don't know, there's this lady here. So I get up there, I get a spot, and then I move for a second, and then she takes my spot completely. So my dad was like, I told you to stay there, Julia. Why didn't you believe me? I just had too much faith in people back then at concerts, I think. And not even at concerts.
So I got this job, it's 1977, 1978. And I would say most of the people that worked there had no concept except the music. Country music was so new to New York, they would come up and spend the whole day and sit around and talk. And I'm talking Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers, Ronnie Millsap, Alabama, Dolly Parton. I got to meet all these people.
Nothing makes me feel the way music does. You've got your entire life to write your first album, and then you get 6 months to do the next one. Every time you make a record or play a show, you get better.
Now, the Dead Boys came from Ohio, and they were a lot like the Stooges. And Steve Baders, I remember him crawling under the drum and biting himself on the shoulder till blood curdled out. And now I was on the first row, and this really rocked me. This is rock and roll now. This is unpredictable stuff. And the Dead Boys were a badass band. Their album was young, loud, and snotty, and that's what they were.
So no, it was a euphoric feeling, yeah. Especially when you got it all down right and we got the timing right and you finally end the song and you were just like, wow, that came out to what we thought it was great. So that was euphoric, I thought. It was it's the best feeling ever.
And the first album I ever bought was $18, and it was AC/DC. And I remember bringing it home and having the album in my hands and being able to play whatever song I wanted to, anytime I wanted to. And it was just the beginning of a love affair, that continues to this day.
The best music ever. On the side of a mountain, Trombone Shorty opening, had only heard he was good, leads a funeral march into the last day, and blows everybody away at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
In front of me.
Modest.
If somebody's standing there and they say, can I just sneak in and take a picture? Dude, come on in, take some pictures. When the person comes in like a fucking bull, bum rushes me, and knocks me out of the way, then you know what? Then the arm bars come out, then you're like, there's no way you're getting past this. Get the fuck out. That's not how you do it. You have
music, I hear songs, and I could tell you, it brings me right back to a certain spot on a certain day, and I could pinpoint it probably to the day of the year that the first time I heard that song.
Even though I did get to interview Craig Finn from Hold Steady, and I did get to interview the lead singer of Not a Surf, which I can't remember his name, but the two best that I got were Chris Cornell and Billy Corgan.
The fact that not every hippie lives in the Midwest and thinks of Dylan and the Village, but thinks about surfing and the Beach Boys and joy and craziness and sunshine and
enjoying the music to the point I can feel my feet right now in the sand. Listen to Motorcycle Mama. Motorcycle Mama came out, and I can see it right now. And that's why it's my favorite concert. I can put myself back there now.
and the whole punk scene, and Blondie and Patti Smith. So I got into them, big time, and that was my salvation, because everybody else was listening to disco.
In high school, we listened to a lot of different music, and we'd go to a lot of different concerts, and the Grateful Dead was music that we listened to. But after going to that first show, I mean, it just spoke to me like nothing else and any other music had ever, spoken to me before. And